Life has a rhythm, a timing, a flow that often feels like a mystery. We want things to happen now, on our terms, in our way. We measure success by speed, by how quickly we get from point A to point B. And when things don't move at our pace, we doubt, we question, we wrestle with uncertainty, wondering if we've been forgotten. But what if the delay isn't a denial? What if the waiting isn't wasted? What if there's a plan unfolding that's greater than anything we could orchestrate? Look back on your life for a moment. Think about the times you wanted something so badly only to realize later that it wasn't right for you. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, a door that closed when you thought it should have swung wide open. In those moments, it felt unfair, frustrating, maybe even painful. But now, with time and perspective, you see it differently. You see the protection in the rejection. You see the growth in the waiting. You see how something better was being prepared for you all along. There is a timing for everything. Seeds don't become trees overnight. Stars don't just appear in the sky. They are born through fire and pressure. A caterpillar doesn't rush the process of becoming a butterfly. It stays in the cocoon until the transformation is complete. And the same is true for you. The things you are waiting for, the dreams you are holding on to, the changes you are hoping to see, they are not forgotten. They are unfolding in perfect timing. Trust is not about knowing all the answers. It's not about having a roadmap where every turn is clearly marked. Trust is about believing that even when you can't see what's ahead, something good is coming. It's about surrendering the need to control the process and allowing life to unfold as it should. It's about understanding that just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not happening at all. So when doubt creeps in, when impatience whispers that you're falling behind, when fear tells you that time is running out, breathe, hold on, keep moving forward with faith, knowing that every closed door is leading you to the right one. Every delay is preparing you for something greater. And one day you'll look back and realize that everything, every setback, every disappointment, every waiting season was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. There's a certain rhythm to life, an invisible thread weaving everything together in ways we don't always understand. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast success, instant results, immediate gratification, but real growth, real transformation doesn't work that way. Everything meaningful in life takes time. The dreams you're chasing, the changes you're hoping for, the person you are becoming, it's all unfolding exactly as it should. Think about the most beautiful things in nature. A river doesn't carve out canyons in a day. A diamond isn't created overnight. The stars you see in the sky took millions of years to shine. And yet, when it comes to our own lives, we expect everything to happen in an instant. We get impatient, frustrated, sometimes even disheartened when things don't go according to our timeline. But just because you can't see the movement doesn't mean it isn't happening. There's a bigger picture being painted, one that you might not fully grasp yet. The setbacks, the delays, the moments when you feel stuck, they're not there to break you, they're there to shape you. Every season has a purpose. Some seasons are meant for growth, others for learning, and some for waiting. And in that waiting, something powerful is happening. You are becoming the person you need to be to step into the life you're meant for. Look at the moments in your life where you wished for something to happen sooner, only to realize later that the timing was perfect. Maybe that job you didn't get led you to a better opportunity. Maybe that relationship that ended made space for something far greater. Maybe the struggle that once frustrated you gave you the strength you never knew you had. The dots don't always connect looking forward, but they make perfect sense when you look back. So trust the timing of your life. Trust that everything's working, even when it feels like nothing is. Trust that you are not late, not behind, not forgotten. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And when the moment is right, when you are ready, everything will fall into place in ways more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. It's easy to believe that when things don't happen right away, they never will. That if a door doesn't open, it's permanently locked. That if something is taking too long, maybe it was never meant for us. But that's not how life works. Just because something isn't happening now doesn't mean it won't happen at all. Some of the greatest things in life require patience, persistence, and the courage to keep believing even when there's no visible progress. Think about the moments when you felt stuck, when you wanted something so badly and it just wouldn't come together. the frustration, the self-doubt, the questions that kept you up at night. But then later, maybe months or even years down the line, you looked back and realized why it had to happen that way. Maybe you weren't ready for it at the time. Maybe there were lessons you needed to learn first. Maybe something even better was being prepared for you. Delay is not a denial, it's a process, a preparation, a necessary pause before something bigger than you imagined unfolds. The most extraordinary people didn't get there overnight. Every success story has a chapter of struggle, of waiting, of moments where giving up seemed easier than holding on. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't luck, it's trust. It's the ability to keep showing up, to keep believing, to keep working, even when the results aren't immediate. Because the truth is, what's meant for you will always find you, but only when the time is right. Imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it's growing. You wouldn't do that because you know that growth happens beneath the surface before you ever see it. Your dreams, your goals, your future, they're growing even when you can't see them. Trust the unseen work that's happening. Trust that the delays are not wasted time but necessary time. Trust that just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not happening at all. One day, everything will make sense. The missed opportunities, the waiting, the moments that tested your patience, all of it will align in a way so perfect, so beautiful, that you'll wonder why you ever doubted. Until then, hold on. Keep moving, keep trusting, because when it's finally your time, nothing and no one will be able to stop what's meant for you. Sometimes life doesn't go the way we planned. We set our hearts on something, work for it, dream about it, and then, just like that, it slips through our fingers. The job we wanted goes to someone else. The relationship we thought would last forever falls apart. The door we were so sure would open stays firmly shut. And in that moment, it's easy to feel lost, to wonder why things aren't working out, to believe that maybe we're not enough. But what if that rejection isn't the end of the story? What if it's a redirection? What if it's the universe saying, not this, not yet, something better is coming? Think about the moments in your life when things didn't go according to plan, but in hindsight, they worked out for the best. That opportunity you missed, maybe it saved you from a situation that wasn't right for you. That relationship that ended, maybe it was making space for one that would truly nurture your soul. That closed door, maybe it was leading you down a path you wouldn't have chosen otherwise, one that turned out to be exactly where you needed to be. The things we lose aren't always losses. Sometimes they are the very things that push us toward where we are meant to go. It's hard to accept in the moment. It hurts. It shakes our confidence. It makes us question whether we're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. But the truth is, rejection is not a reflection of our worth. It's simply a redirection towards something better, something more aligned with who we truly are. Life doesn't take things away to punish us. It clears space so that we can receive what's meant for us. And the sooner we stop clinging to what's not for us, the sooner we can step into what is. Trust that every no is making way for a greater yes. Trust that the things that are meant to be yours will never require you to beg, chase, or force them into existence. Trust that every closed door is guiding you towards something more beautiful than you can imagine. Because one day you will look back and realize that what you thought was a setback was actually the greatest setup for something extraordinary. You just had to be patient enough to see it. There is a certain freedom that comes with letting go of the need to control everything. We spend so much time trying to plan, predict, and force outcomes, believing that if we just work harder or push more, life will unfold exactly the way we want. But life doesn't operate on our timelines. It doesn't follow our carefully laid out plans. And when things don't go the way we expect, we start to panic, to question, to doubt. But real trust, the kind that changes everything, is about surrender. It's about believing that even when you don't see the whole picture, something greater is at work. Think about the times you held on too tightly to something, afraid to let go, convinced that it had to happen your way. The stress, the exhaustion, the frustration of trying to control the uncontrollable. And then at some point, you released it. You accepted that what is meant for you will never miss you. And in that surrender, something magical happened. The weight lifted, clarity came, and doors began to open in ways you never expected. Because when you stop trying to force life to happen and instead trust that it is unfolding exactly as it should, you make space for miracles. Trusting the timing of your life doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means showing up, doing your best, and then having faith that what's meant for you will find you when the time is right. It means understanding that delays are not denials, that setbacks are sometimes setups, and that just because you can't see the path ahead doesn't mean it isn't there. It means knowing that sometimes the things you're waiting for are waiting for you too, waiting for you to grow, to learn, to become the person who is ready to receive them. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the timeline you've created in your head. Let go of the fear that if it doesn't happen now, it will never happen. Trust that the right things will come at the right time. Trust that what's yours will never be lost. Trust that even in the moments of uncertainty, everything is moving exactly as it should. Because when you finally surrender, you don't lose control, you gain peace. And in that peace, you find the freedom to live fully, knowing that the best is still ahead. Growth is never instant. It doesn't happen overnight, and it never comes without struggle. The dreams you have, the success you crave, the person you want to become, it all takes time. And not just time, but patience, persistence, and the willingness to embrace the process, even when it feels slow. But here's the truth. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Just because the results aren't immediate doesn't mean you aren't growing. Some of the most important transformations happen in the quiet, in the unseen, in the moments where you feel like nothing is changing. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. It doesn't sprout the moment it's placed in the ground. It stays hidden, going through changes we can't see. But beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is building, and when the time is right, it breaks through. If the seed could speak, maybe it would question the darkness. Maybe it would wonder why nothing is happening. But what it doesn't realize is that the darkness is necessary, the waiting is necessary, and the same is true for you. Every challenge, every delay, every time you feel like you're standing still, it's all preparing you. Maybe you're learning patience. Maybe you're developing resilience. Maybe you're being shaped into the person who will be able to handle what's coming. Because the truth is, sometimes we think we're ready for something when we're not. We want things before we have the strength, the wisdom, the understanding to carry them. And life in its infinite wisdom gives us what we need before it gives us what we want. Embrace the waiting. Don't rush the process. Growth happens in the in-between, in the moments where nothing seems to be moving. One day you'll look back and realize that this time, the time you thought was wasted, the time you wanted to fast forward through, was actually the most important chapter of your story. Because it was in this season of waiting that you became strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough for everything that was coming your way. Life has a way of making sense. In hindsight, the moments that once felt confusing, the delays that once seemed unfair, the paths that didn't go the way you expected, they all come together in a way that reveals something greater than you could have imagined. The truth is, everything is happening exactly as it should, even the setbacks, even the waiting, even the moments that test your patience and make you question whether things will ever fall into place. It's easy to trust when everything is going well. It's easy to believe when things are unfolding according to your plans. But real trust is built in the moments of uncertainty, in the waiting rooms of life, in the times when nothing makes sense. That's when you have to remind yourself that just because you don't see the movement doesn't mean there isn't a plan. Just because you don't have all the answers doesn't mean you're lost. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. Look back at your own life for a moment. Think about the things you once worried about, the situations you thought you wouldn't get through. You did. You survived. And not only did you survive, but you grew, you became stronger, you gained wisdom, you learned what truly mattered. That's the beauty of time. It reveals, it heals, and it shows you that everything is always working in your favor, even when it doesn't feel that way. So trust that every delay has a purpose. Trust that every closed door is leading you somewhere better. Trust that your dreams, your goals, your deepest desires, they are not being ignored, they are being prepared. And when the time is right, when you are ready, life will align in ways more beautiful than you ever imagined. Until then, don't rush the process. Don't lose faith. Keep going, keep believing, and most of all, keep trusting. Because one day you will look back and realize that everything, every struggle, every moment of doubt, every unanswered question was leading you exactly where you were always meant to be.